Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What you need to know. Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Webby, GA, and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.
Good evening and welcome to the Speedway Tavern. It's football, but not as we know it. In football, as we all know, it's win at all costs. It's if you're not performing, you go out and you buy yourself a new player. You sack the players that have got you to where they are, you don't play them, and you go out, and money is the all-important thing in football. How surprised it is for me to find that to some fans, that's what it should be like in Speedway. Let's forget about the riders that have got us into this position and let's get some new ones. I don't think that's the mentality of Speedway, is it? Shouldn't be. Only in Speedway. Well, good evening. We've got a few things to talk about tonight. Obviously, the situation that Birmingham find ourselves in. Will we win the league? Won't we win the league? It's going to be tight. I always said it would be. Now is squeaky bum time, and perhaps now is not the time to be saying of riders, you're not very good. Perhaps now is the time to be talking about riders and saying, come on, you can do it. What do you think?
Almost definitely, yeah. Yeah, surely it is, yeah.
Obviously, and we'll
I missed something because I need to catch up as well.
Okay, well,
you need to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a situation where we were winning matches not for fun because we never won any of those matches by tons. But now we started losing matches, and we went to Buxton, and we still got a point, which may, at the end of the day, might be the point that wins us the league. And we've known from day one that we've got a massive tail, but we've been able to keep that going. And all of those riders in that massive tail at one point or another in this season have contributed to a win for Birmingham. One of the biggest criticisms I've been hearing is about Adam Kirby. Yeah, one of the greatest matches that I saw this year was when we went to Stoke and Adam Kirby won that match for us. Him and Zach Vitanek won that match for us. So, and they've all, Sam Chapman's had performances where he has won matches for Stoke. Actually, he had a good performance at Stoke as well. And even Alex Wilson has come in with decent points now and then. They've all contributed to getting us into the position that we're in, and now people are going for them.
So are we saying that there's a disagreement amongst a few Brummy supporters?
Well, it probably is a few. I mean, let me just say one thing. I mean, I've had a particular argument with a particular person. I don't think it's fair to actually bring people's names into it, because unless they're actually on the shout box and can sort of defend themselves, so I'm not going to mention names or anything. It just wouldn't be fair. But how look, people are entitled to their opinion. Of course they are. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of the season. I was fairly critical of Adam Kirby myself. at that point.
Yep.
But I just feel we've got to this point now that all of those riders have contributed to the team at one point or another. And you win as a team and you lose as a team. It's an old cliche, but it's so true. And with 3-4 matches to go, whatever it is, I don't think now is the time to be saying, particularly as they're obviously looking on over their shoulder now. It is squeaky bum time. It is, the last thing you do now is say, well, you're rubbish and you're going to lose us the league. Yeah. You build them up. You say you can do it.
Yeah, it's probably not the best time, is it? Really, it's probably not the best time to.
I suppose the bottom line is it's not our job as supporters, in my opinion, to pick the team. Mm-hmm. I know you do that, and you do it in football, but it's slightly different. You pick from a squad in football. It's not, if the riders are there, we know Graham Drury is never hesitant to drop the axe if he thinks it'll be in the best interests of Birmingham Speedway. And we do
He's
need
a team man, isn't he?
And we do need a number 6, because we haven't got one. We have a selection of guests that we've been using. And he's, I think you're going to read the article later, aren't you? That he is looking, and we know that he has been looking. But people are accusing Graham of not. I don't know what they're accusing him of. Is that he's not getting riders and that he's known and he should, but they're not available. And there's this new rider, I can't figure his name. His second name Spiller, who's come in for Eastbourne. He's a 3-point rider and is immediately scoring 10 points because he's been riding in the German league, recommended to them by Bjarne Pedersen. Now, my understanding, this is just what I've been told, so I haven't got any inside information on this, I don't know, that we tried to get him, but we're told by the BSPA that we can't have him because he's riding on a German licence, which is, fair enough. I think, particularly for the National League, that's the rules. Yeah. But now all of a sudden, Eastbourne have signed him and he's transferred over from a German licence to an English licence. Well, why couldn't we have done that? Why couldn't we do that? Yeah. Exactly. That's not Graham Drury's fault, and these are these things that I've said before on the programme about perception. The perception is that we've been dealt a bad hand there. It might be true, it might not. I don't know. But while that can be a perception, it's a problem for Speedway. It's a problem for Birmingham. It's a problem for Speedway. That's a sort of side issue. There isn't another Spiller out there, I don't imagine. If there is, Graham Drury. Well, the other thing I'll say about Graham Drury,
so Graham's Graham's not taking the rap for this sort of.
He has a bit,
really.
He has a little bit, yeah. I mean, obviously, people are criticising particular riders and saying they're never going to do it, which, way to build the confidence up,
Yeah. I think Stan's talking about Harvey.
Okay,
fair comment. Who tried to build him up?
Well, do you know what? Yeah, I do you know something, Stan? I know exactly what you're saying, and I do agree to you to a certain extent. In this much, at the beginning of the season, people were saying it's not important about winning the league. Almost everybody to a man was saying this on the forum. It's not important about who wins the league. It's important about enjoying the Speedway, which you can certainly say we have done. And it's also important that, cause we're a training league, which we're not, by the way.
No,
so we should
not anymore.
We should be training these riders up. We should stick by them. And when people suggested that Harvey Banks needed to be replaced, some people, rightfully in their minds, said that, well, no, you shouldn't. He's a young rider, he's learning his trade. And even Graham Drury has actually come up and said similar comments that actually I didn't wield the axe because I'm aware that these are all young riders starting their trade. Yeah. But now the tune's changed, hasn't it? Because now there's a sniff of a title. Yeah. Now. Forget about that it's a training league, which it's not. Forget that these are young lads learning the trade, etc., etc. Get somebody else in. These are rubbish. Get somebody else in. It's a sort of attitude that Cradley fans have been accused of. Round 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a personal opinion, okay? You know,
Of course, yeah.
this is a personal opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I'm certainly not trying to stop people from having an opinion, but that's how I feel about it anyway. So,
there's before we go on, or whether we stay on the same subject, was it?
well, it's up to the listeners. But let's.
Stan says, looking at today's comments, seems Zach could be off to Sheffield for 2016. What you think of that?
I haven't read it all. I've been a little bit out of it today for one reason and another. I know that he's guesting at Sheffield tonight. He's got a paid win for his first ride, by the way.
Oh, that's
not
all
a bad
right.
going.
Yeah.
Look, we've known it's not rocket science, is it? If we're not in the Premier League next year, we won't have Zach Vitanek. So he's got to be looking at where he's going. He likes the Sheffield track, fairly obviously. It wouldn't be a bad place for him to go. He's our rider. We have his contract. If we are in the Premier League next year, we pretty much, I wouldn't say we decide where he goes, but we've got first sort of option on that. You know, but if it, if we don't and he rides for Sheffield, whoever, we either get some nice money from a transfer fee because he's going to be worth quite a lot, or if they're not prepared to pay what we do, then they loan him and we get the loan fee. Nice to be in that position.
I think brought me to up time. Just hit it on the head really. There, every team is shuffling the pack now, which does happen at this time of
Well, it does, yeah,
the season,
but. Because we built such a top-heavy team, and let's not blame Graham Drury for that.
No.
Yeah,
Well, that's what's put us
That's
where we are.
You know,
Yeah.
Exactly. But we haven't got the same sorts of options. We just haven't got the options. We're looking for 3-point riders, and we're looking for 3-point riders that are going to get 3 points or 4 points or 5 points, and they're not there. As far as I'm aware, if somebody else knows different, then name the riders and tell Graham and tell me, and I mean, he's obviously got his eye on somebody, otherwise he wouldn't be making the comments that he's been making about new riders. So,
and he could pull something out of the bag.
So I'm going to hand this to you now because you're going to show me how to refresh that.
Okay, then, right. And I'll just make a comment from Stan actually. Sorry, GA, there's nothing with winning with three meetings left. The riders have had since March to prove themselves. The winter will be even colder if we don't win the league.
Who says there's anything wrong with winning? Did I actually say there was anything wrong with winning? I'll tell you now, if we win, you'll see me on the centre green jump higher than the flipping stand. Winning is brilliant, nothing wrong with it, but it's about how you win. And where are we?
Yeah,
we're at the top of the league.
Oh, yeah. I've just pulled my plug out.
Well done. Is that a euphemism?
Said the bishop.
We're at the top of the league.
Yeah.
And which riders put us there?
Exactly, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that if there's a rider out there somewhere that can do a better job for us, and obviously we have got a gap at number 6. We don't need to replace a rider to fill that gap anyway. So I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is what you don't do is start rubbishing the riders.
Yep, got you. Right, okay, now I've showed you how to work a tablet.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, great stuff.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have Matt on the phone in a couple of minutes. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll play a track, and I'll get Matt set up, and then we'll come back. How about that?
Okay.
I guess I'm just one of those guys who will never realize his fate. I never know why. When I try, it's too late. See how I can dress myself. I don't need nobody's help. I'm able to leave the house. those guys. I'm just one of those guys. I guess I'm just one of those guys. I'm just one of those guys. I guess I'm just one of those guys. I'm just one of those guys. I guess I'm just one of those guys.
Okay, we've got Matt on the phone. There's been a few comments on the shout box which I will refer back to, so don't worry, it's not that I'm ignoring you, we will talk about it. But hiya Matt!
Hiya, good evening.
How are we doing? Did you have a nice holiday?
Yes, fabulous, thank you. A bit tired, but
Tired?
I had a great time.
You've
thank
been on
you.
holiday and you're tired. I'm just going to get no sympathy from me.
I saw quite a few photographs of you, Matt. Actually, you didn't look tired to me on that beach.
No, that was before a 10-hour flight, so...
Oh, yeah.
But,
Right, so are you sort of au fait what's been going on in the Wolverhampton world recently?
I'm still catching up a little bit. The results been quite mixed, to be honest. A good win against Kingsley and Lakeside, and the defeats at Bellevue and at home to Swindon. So I think the results have been quite mixed, but that's been the case throughout most of the season, to be honest. Obviously, disappointment today that Lewis Blackbird's decided to retire from Speedway. He had another big off apparently on Monday against Leicester, and has decided to... He was apparently considering retiring at the end of the season due to business commitments, but he's now brought that forward, so we'll have to make a change obviously in the next few, just for the last few meetings of the season.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that I read somewhere in the press that Peter Adams has sort of taken the blame upon himself for the first season?
Yes, well, both him and Chris Van Straten. At the end of the day, they were the ones that put the team together, so I think the blame's got to lie largely with them. To be fair, they were warned back in March that the team was going to struggle, and they were pretty bullish that they felt they were quietly confident about the club's chances. But that's not been the case. It's been a bit of a disappointing season.
It started off quite well though, didn't it? Quite promising.
Oh yeah, we started off well, but I think that was largely down to a really good start from Peter Carlson, who carried the team over for the first few matches. I mean, he scored 20 on the opening night at Coventry, but as the season's gone on, Peter's not that surprisingly for me has faded a little bit, especially since the Swedish League started, and too many other riders have not really performed to expectations, and hence we're second bottom in the Elite League.
Well, are you going
You
to...
can see you sniggering.
Yeah. So, where do you think... Are you going to stay second bottom, or do you think Leicester are going to... Because Leicester have started doing quite well recently, haven't they?
Well, they have, but Leicester are still 8 points behind us at the moment. They're on 19 and we've got 27. Leicester have got 3 matches in hand, and of course we go to Leicester on Saturday. I'm probably going to go to that one because withdrawal symptoms. I haven't seen this Speedway for a few weeks. And of course we've still got Leicester at home as well. That's the final meeting of the season, and the meeting against Bellevue, and of course that's going to be an interesting one, with Bellevue of course still going for a place in the
playoffs,
in the top 4. So there's still a bit of Speedway to look forward to between now and the end of the season, but I suspect that Leicester meeting in the first week of September may well be the last meeting of the season.
Right.
Usually the season finishes with the Olympic, but from what I've heard, it might not happen this season because of problems with getting a sponsor for it, because the last few seasons Banks has sponsored it, but they're not going to sponsor it this year. So unless another sponsor can be brought in, I think there's a chance that it might well be an early end to the season really for Wolves. And I think probably Chris Van Straten and Peter Adams would be quite happy with that. I think they just want to get the season over and done with and start again in the winter.
You sound very much in that vein yourself.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's this really from about May, it's been just disappointment all the way through, to be honest.
Yeah.
Peter Adams has received a lot of criticism, especially with his role with Ty Woffenden, of course, and his work in his Grand Prix pit crew, and one or two people suggesting that maybe he's paying more attention to Ty's World Championship bid than to his club. Don't know whether that's the case, but well, it's something for people to agree with or disagree with. I don't really have an opinion on that one way or the other, to be honest. I don't think it really made much difference.
Yeah. We had a comment from Stan who said, "Sorry, Matt, the Dogheads have had a mare."
Yeah, I think he'll agree.
Yeah, I don't think there's any disagreement, is
Yeah, I
there?
think
No,
it's the season
I
to be
don't think we've done that well. So
the understatement of the year.
Has there been any sort of intimation about what's going to happen next year? You know, the riders or changes or anything? Anybody?
well, you know yourself from, I know myself from over 25 years of watching Wolves that, they do like to sort of stick with a lot of riders that have been at the club for a while and have a little bit of continuity. I think until we know what the regulations are going to be, there won't be much in the way of decisions for team building. I think that's got to be the way with most clubs, though.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, I'd like to sort of say commiserations, but I can't sort of stop sniggering, to be honest. Which you might be doing for Birmingham later on in the season if it all goes pear shaped. Which I think it's very squeaky bum time at the moment. We're in the best seat at the moment, but they're coming over our shoulders.
Not as comfy as it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so I don't know whether you've been following any of the sort of debate, but
Stay online.
yeah, please feel free to contribute as I tell people off. No, that's not fair. Do you want to go down the shout box and bring back some of those earlier comments then,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we'll sort of run through them.
Yeah, there was a few.
Just bear with us, folks.
We've done that one, haven't we? Yeah. Have we done that one?
No, we haven't. So we'll have a look at that. So this is Dan. He says, at the end of the day, just imagine if Zach had shown the same form as our number 6s all season. He's saved our season. So the question has to be asked regarding numbers 2, 4, 6, and 7, and that's not criticising them. That's the truth. I'm not really quite sure what he's getting at there, but Zach has performed like he has, and we signed him. Now, whether we knew that was going to happen, or whether that was good fortune, the point is he's part of the team, and we signed him. And to me, that's it. We spotted the potential, and my life, we had the best number 7 in the league. So Ellis Perks included.
I must have gone through some sort of time warp because a couple of weeks ago when we were last here, Zach was the Messiah.
Well, I think he's tailed off a little bit, although he's doing quite well at Sheffield at the moment.
2 weeks is a long time in Speedway,
isn't it? Well, it's a long time in sport, full stop.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pass that over to you to do your trick again because that's not working.
Yeah.
So I'm not really quite sure what he's trying to say there. Regarding George Hunter, I'd rather have us ride one of our own, i.e. Harvey or Rob Parker, but we don't know what the situation is there. Harvey, we could all see in his last race, he'd just absolutely, his confidence had gone. At that point, I think it was definitely the right thing to drop him. But you see, I'm confused about this because people are saying, one hand we have people saying, well, get rid of riders and get new riders in, and on the other hand you've got people saying, well, let's go back to the riders that already haven't performed for us. It makes no sense to me. Matt, what do you think?
I think it really is, all teams at some point maybe go through a little bit of a sticky patch, and all riders do as well. I think it was a very disappointing result against Buxton. I think that meeting was there for Birmingham to win, and they didn't take it. Obviously, it was important to. I think most from what I've heard. Obviously, I wasn't there, but from what I've heard, Cradley deserved the win against Birmingham. The important thing really for Birmingham was to stop Cradley getting all the points, and they managed to do that. It's to say, I think Birmingham is still very much in the driving seat, but I think Cradley have obviously started to reel them back in a little bit, and I think Eastbourne as well. Certainly now Eastbourne have signed Daniel Spiller. I think he's going to be
favourites for the Cup, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. They've. I think obviously Birmingham have still got to go out there in the league, and Eastbourne have still got to come up to Perry Bar, and those two, I've said it for a while, but those two meetings, I think, well, not so much the meeting at Darlington, but more so the Perry Bar meeting is going to have a big say in the destiny of the league championship.
Well, we shall see. It's certainly making for very interesting times. So you was talking to somebody. I'm going to throw you in the deep end now on Twitter.
Gabby does this as well.
Yeah, you was talking to somebody on Twitter about, and he was being very critical of Graham Drury.
There is a certain person who doesn't come on the show, but every single week he seems to have a little go at Graham without actually having a go at Graham, if you know what I mean. And he'll moan and he'll moan and he'll moan, and I think I bit today, and I said, why don't you just ask him? But whether he has or not, I don't know.
Well, I presume he's been coming through on the sports radio.
Yeah,
Twitter
on
feed.
the Speedway.
So presumably he listens to the show then.
Obviously,
so I mean, you know,
come in on the show.
Yeah, come in on the show.
Yeah.
Put yourself up on the show box.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. That's what it's all about. It's about opinions.
This is what the debate is here. We're debating here, so you know, tell us what your gripe is, and we'll chat about it. We won't be able to solve it, but
that is true.
We can all have a chat about it. Put the water right here.
I just feel very, and again, personal opinion and not sports radio opinion and all the rest of it. I just feel very strongly that what are we griping about?
What have we got to gripe about?
We're top of the league, and yeah, we might lose it. You know, there's a good chance that, you know, if we don't pull ourselves up a little bit by the bootstraps, that we could lose it. But my life, what a ride it's been! Fantastic. What a great season! Some good racing we've seen, and this time last year,
would you have envisaged this?
No,
I can't even say the word.
You never.
I haven't said it before.
Would we have? I mean, this time last year we had no team at all.
That's right.
Come on, lighten up, guys! Really, lighten up. It's Speedway. It's not the most important thing in the world.
That's right.
Actually, not.
Would you say now that Eastbourne are probably the main rivals for the championship?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I think now they possibly are.
It depends. Really depends very much on how Cradley goes away, because I think Eastbourne will drop points. Their Rye House meeting, for instance, where they didn't get the full points, they flipping well should have done. They were mountains in front of Rye House. I think Rye House were a bit surprised, and I think they had a bad day, and they got better as the day went. So I think Eastbourne were a little bit lucky actually in catching Rye House on a bad day. So yeah, for me it's all about Eastbourne's away form. The rest of the season now is about Eastbourne's away form for me, and Cradley's away form, and because, you know, we might have enough points now. We might have enough points now without winning another match.
3?
We've got, I think, 3 more meetings.
3 more meetings.
I mean, the other teams have got a lot more, but, you know, we're that many. Was it 16 points in front of us? I think we're still something like that.
Something like that,
yeah. So it's not all over, guys. It's like I feel like everybody's panicking a little bit, but
in fact,
well, if you look at
appeared.
Well, if you look at the fixtures that Eastbourne have got left, there's obviously 2 away meetings, and they're against Birmingham and Coventry.
That's going to be one hell of a match, isn't it? Birmingham match. You've just turned into a robot there.
Meetings on the 20th.
You've just turned into a robot there, so would you like to say that again? You went all funny.
There's Birmingham home, Mildenhall home, Birmingham away, Coventry away, Kent home, Mildenhall's home, although Mildenhall's home in the last one's a national trophy, so Kent is their last home league meeting on the 6th of September, so...
That's going to be a win.
We've got a few comments. I can read these out, can't I?
Sure, yeah.
We've got a few comments on the shout box. Dingle said he can't wait for Sunday. Who are we playing on Sunday? We'll have some fun with the Coughing Dodger locals in God's waiting room. And he also said he's going to stand by the pits and throw peanuts at Spiller's mechanics.
Through the monkey cage.
Oh, because we're at Eastbourne, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're at
yeah.
Eastbourne, of course.
Yeah.
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 Stan says, surely GA, a championship team in Birmingham, is something positive and can be used for new 2016 supporters drive whatever sport. I actually got to disagree with that, because it's been proven it's made no difference to our support whether we've been winning or losing. It's been pretty constant, apart from I think when we went in the Elite League, where it did drop fairly
Are
sharply.
you working on averages, are you? Or something? Yeah,
So, yes, look, actually, there is nobody in a red and yellow scarf that will disagree that winning will be great. I would love to win it. It's important. It's great, but we haven't lost it yet. It's still there to be won. And these riders that we've got us in this position. Perhaps we need to show them a little bit more trust, and perhaps we need to let Graham Drury do his job. With whatever he's got tied behind, how many hands he's got tied behind his back because of the rules.
Because whatever we think of him, he's far better qualified than we are.
Well, quite. He knows the true situation. What do you think,
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, I think so. As I've said before, I mean, he knows that league better than anybody else, I think. So, he obviously had a lot of success there with Milnall as well. So, yeah, I mean, Birmingham are in a strong position, but I think it's important to keep the feet on the ground and make sure that the job gets done. Because Birmingham, for me, they are still the favourites to win it, purely with the lead they've got. And as you've said, it might come down to the fact that they might not need to get another point, but probably I think they will. So
that Eastbourne match is going to be massive.
Yeah, well, I've got Cranley's fixtures here as well. They've got Kings Lynn on tomorrow night away, Coventry on Sunday away, Kings Lynn at home, Rye House away, Buxton away, Rye House at home. So their fixture list, I think, pretty favourable fixture list, I think, for Cranley. I think they'll pick up a few points in those.
I think there's a few tough matches in those, actually, because Coventry, for instance, have just strengthened, haven't they?
And Rye House is always a tricky one as well.
You can't say they get all the points from those, can you? That's the thing.
No, they've got the Stoke match as well, which was round off from last Saturday, so that's got to be rearranged. So that's another one they've got to slot in somewhere.
Now, Stan says, so champions don't count, or we've got a poor PR.
Yeah.
He means PR. Well, yeah, champion. You could. That's what we're in it for, to win championships. But I just, everybody's talking as if we've lost the thing. We haven't lost the thing. Yeah, it is squeaky bum time. Yeah, there are problems within the team, but
we should be excited, not excited.
Well, yeah.
not despondent. Surely.
Well, quite. It's a brummy thing, isn't it? It's definitely
our personality shining through. And I think Dingle's got it spot on regarding next season sponsorship and whatever. You go to a sponsor with a trophy, he's better going to a sponsor with a trophy than not going without one.
No, that's true. I mean,
yeah.
we've got a trophy, of course, but you know. And it's been remiss of me to not mention this, actually, because I wasn't there, because I was in the Lake District. Adam Ellis, what a fantastic performance in the Golden Hammer. Absolutely stunning by all accounts. I mean, some fast skating and also some expert passing.
Well, he rode very well last night as well for Kings Lynn in the TV match against Coventry. So
I missed that.
He's starting to really flick through the gears, I think, in terms of his form. So yeah, it's important for Birmingham that he maintains that, because the form of your number one is going to be very, very crucial.
Yeah, well, we've discovered that over the years when we haven't had one. But,
exactly.
Yeah. We've got a few matches that we're watching tonight, so I'm just going to go through them a little bit. And first, obviously, important match. This is rubbish, by the way. This thing that you give me is rubbish.
Sorry, it's all you've got.
So obviously we've got Zach's riding at Sheffield tonight, so we'll have a look at how he's doing. The scores currently are Sheffield 23 and Edinburgh 19, and there we go. Yes, Zach's had a paid win behind Josh Bates, and he's had a last place.
Wow.
mixed results for there. Redcar versus Plymouth. And we'll have a look at that one when your machine does something useful.
Okay.
The score at the moment is Redcar 30 and Plymouth 26. Okay, so that's a fairly close match. Ipswich versus... Your machine is really rubbish. Don't give me this one again. Ipswich versus Berwick is currently 35-13. 35-13. Wow, that's an exciting match. for Ipswich. So, there you go.
Okay. We're okay because Stan said Cradley won't win the title.
Okay.
I'm
Well, do you know what? It's a difficult one as a Brummie fan. If we're not going to win it, who would you rather have it to win it? Cradley or Eastbourne? And obviously you don't want Cradley to win it. Nobody wants Cradley to win it apart from Cradley. Yeah. But we all know the history between Birmingham and Eastbourne, and there's this perception that they've cheated a little bit with the Spiller situation.
Right.
And as I said, perception is everything in sport. You just ask the IAAF who are making their drugs testing independent rather than being run by the IAAF, so that the perception isn't there that they can fudge it.
Dingle reiterates that it says there's too many difficult away fixtures for Cradley, so just saying.
I think they've got a few away. You can't see them getting maximum points, and possibly they need to be looking at maximum points from some of them.
Need Kirby to wobble about as usual around Eastbourne reserves will scare the bejesus out of them.
We just need, let's be honest, Adam, please just stay on your bloody bike, because he scores points when he goes on his bike, and that's his job, to score points, the odd point.
Yes, Dingle, some of the rummies are noted for falling off. The likes of Kirby Chapman are not novices. I keep hearing Darth Vader on the line. I think that
must be you, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's fixed.
No, it's not me.
Chapman has barely ridden a couple of dozen meetings. I suppose he hasn't. I mean, he missed a fair chunk, didn't he? If I'm honest, I think Sam Chapman is the key to our season, because he's the one rider outside of the top three that you can see scoring points, because he gates well for a start off.
Yeah.
I think if Sam has a good meeting, we win the meeting. What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, I think he's going to be crucial. Obviously, he's been unfortunate because he's missed quite a large chunk of the season anyway. So maybe in terms of getting into the swing of it, he's a little bit behind in that sense. But I mean, Alex Wilson has shown glimpses of promise, but ultimately he hasn't been consistent enough. And Birmingham have been able to win matches with three riders on a lot of occasions, but they can't keep doing that, so they're really going to need other riders to chip in, and you would think Sam Chapman is the most likely one of the ones to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, particularly because he's so quick out of the trap, 90% of the time. It's going to be good for him at Eastbourne, hopefully. Get out the trap and stay on, that's his job. So, okay, I'm going to change the topic of the debate now, although if people want to keep chipping in with stuff on the shout box, we will absolutely include that in the conversation.
Yep.
So, okay. So, in the Speedway Star this week, they've come up with 15 ideas to improve Speedway. This is on the back of...
good, I haven't seen this. So,
okay.
Yeah.
On the back of the Chris Louis... It's on the back of the Chris Louis article last week. So, number one, I quite like this one.
I've got about 3 Speedway Stars to get through.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go through as many of these as we can. I like this idea.
Okay.
Why not make team managers work for their living when they're at meetings? Today, their job is simple. In many ways, a well-programmed robot could do it. Maybe make a reserve switch or decide when to play the tactical substitute card, a facility that is restricted anyway by the 10-point deficit that's required before it comes into play. At Elite League level, the restrictions are even more severe, as the black and white helmet colour can only be trotted out in less than half of the 15 races. Give team bosses their head, let them put their riders wherever they want in their team lineup, and let's see who's a programme manager. With clubs having to notify the opposition of their lineup well in advance, it would allow for some juggling, and tactics really would come into play. Why, for example, can't Niels Christian Everson ride at number 4 for Kings Lynn if that's what team boss Rob Lyon fancies doing? Thoughts, gentlemen?
Interesting one. I think, it's said before. I mean, team managers don't really seem to have to do a lot, do they? Just stand around and fill the programme in and maybe talk to the riders occasionally. People say it's a simple job, and I think with one or two of the team managers around, it's probably just as well. I think that idea's got potential, to be honest, but
I think it's got potential, apart from one problem, which is an elite league problem, which is the fast track riders, and the fact that they're programmed so that they don't meet heat leaders because of them being fast track riders. So I think that's a potential problem for that. Other than that, I think in the two lower leagues, I think that would be a cracking idea. It would also sell more programs because
that's an ulterior motive behind it, isn't it? Because a lot of people now just print the programs off before they go to the meeting and fill those in.
And if you don't know what the lineup's going to be, it's going to be a bit more difficult to do. I think it's a cracking idea. I don't necessarily see it as a way of getting more punters through the doors, though, because for new people, it's not. It doesn't make. I don't
think it simplifies anything, which is really what new punters want to see. It's just, it's not a sport for new punters, is it? Really, to get straight into.
No. So I mean, I think it's something that I'd like to see. I mean, we always used to have a situation where, at Birmingham, typically our best rider, Hans Nielsen or Phil Hearn, would be riding at number 5. We never put them at number 1. And I think it'd be quite nice to be able to see that. It makes Heat 13 slightly different, doesn't it? But then it's, it is what it is. Point number 2, bring in some young blood to help run the sport. One night last week, the 1992 world champion and current Coventry manager Gary Havelock posted a thought-provoking tweet on his Twitter account. He wrote, "My 14-year-old daughter just said, 'Dad, why is it young guys who ride Speedway but always old people who come and watch?'"
Good one.
Now that really does make its point in the most striking of ways, and it's hard to argue against her observation. Promoters are of necessity, usually well past their first flush of youth. But there's no reason why the BSPA can't consider co-opting some youngsters into their management committee, or at least a marketing committee that should be looking at ways of bringing in those relatively affluent teens and 20s.
Spot on.
Conor Dugard-Wright has shown that what can be done, helping to revitalise Eastbourne even though the club dropped from the Elite League to National League in the winter. Let's see people like Conor and his ilk providing ideas for attracting a more youthful audience. The bitter truth is, if we don't do that, in 10 years' time, you will be counting audiences in tens rather than hundreds.
Yeah, I think I agree.
That's been a problem for a long time, hasn't it? Really, the sort of the average age of crowds, and you very, especially at Wolverhampton, you see very, very few young fans now, which not too long ago, about 7 or 8 years ago, you saw plenty of young people down there, but it's sometimes when meetings drag on and kids have got school the next day and parents,
that's the biggest
they
problem.
want to try and get them home as early as they can, don't they? So
for me, that is the biggest problem, and for me, you bring a young child to a Speedway meeting and you don't know what time that meeting's going to finish half the time. You go to a football match, you know what time it's going to finish, don't you?
Yeah, I think the other problem as well is that when you see people bring young kids around, and how young kids do what most young kids do, and they run around, and invariably you get people complaining about it, and then people think, well, if I'm going to get moaned at, I'm not going to bring them.
Well, exactly right. Because it's very difficult to control a young child in that situation, and if what you're then doing is worrying about controlling the child so he doesn't upset the people around, you're not watching the Speedway. So why? Why bother come? I've experienced that myself when my lads were younger. So
I can guarantee if there's a poll, I should imagine that 80% of the people that go down Perry Bar are the same people that went in 1970s,
1980s, yeah.
yeah.
There are. I have noticed a few more youngsters this year, but not enough.
Yeah.
By a long chalk, but... Okay, point number 3. Marketing is the only way any business can survive, and sadly Speedway remains probably the most under-marketed commodity there is.
Terribly.
Every other sport outshines Speedway in that direction. The only person who seems to be making a real effort at spreading the word is Ty Woffington, both on his own and now through his manager Alex Field. When was the last time anyone other than Ty was seen on a TV show or heard on national radio? Shows like A Question of Sport aren't necessarily a closed shop, but it's a matter of getting in touch with the right people at the right time. It's been tried and people argue it wasn't a great success, but for one last push, find the right person who can open the right doors. Again, how can you have a sport that has been guaranteed live coverage of its domestic league on TV since 1999 and currently 28 matches a season without a main sponsor? When was the last time the Elite League was sponsored other than by a Sky subsidiary? We reckon it was 1992 when the title sponsor was Homefire, a smokeless fuel brand of coal products.
I remember that, yeah. I remember the Homefire League, yeah.
You can't argue with any of that, can you?
No, you can't argue with that at all. I mean, people say, well, people don't want to sponsor Messi. Well, Joe McLaughlin manages at Birmingham. I don't want to try and sound like I'm trying to get Joe another job, but he would be perfect for that role within the BSBA.
It needs something like that. The perception for me is that the promoters are actually too busy bickering with themselves at their conference to try and get one over each other on the rules and stuff. To worry about that side of it.
I was looking at some comments about, because there's been a few comments from Swindon fans getting a bit concerned about what's happening with their new stadium, and I noticed Terry Russell's released a comment, and it was quite a barbed statement that he released there, saying it's their business, the fans' business is to know that the stadium is going to be built. Well, there's no need to make barbed comments about it. They're expressing a concern because it's their club, and at the end of the day, the people that come through the turnstiles, they're your customers, and you've got to treat them properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that it's getting better, but clubs don't make enough of social media. It's the biggest thing. It's the absolutely biggest thing. We should be, Birmingham Speedway is okay, but actually it's not really.
It's not brilliant. No,
it's not brilliant
at all.
And we should be, that Twitter feed should be following people like the Superbikes, and the F1. And getting all those, like-minded people, and drawing people in.
Copying people in on the tweets and things, that's right.
I know nothing about it, as you know. I'm rubbish at it, but even I understand that.
Yeah.
So,
but,
I think the problem is that the BSBA seem to have this view of social media that it's an enemy, and they chose to ignore it. So
it'll go away.
Yeah, well, it's not, is it?
No, it's not.
That you feel sometimes as a fan that I actually think of us as the enemy as well, but
and I think it's run by old men basically who don't and won't understand,
and it's run by men. It's run by a committee. Is what it's run by, and the committee's just the worst thing.
Someone said to me once that it's a professional sport run by amateurs.
Yeah. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot to say for that. Number 4. We're not going to get through all 15 of these tonight, but we'll get through it, and maybe we'll pick it up again next week. While we're at it, why not make the most of the national figures that follow the sport? Produce a promotional video that has people like Mark Webber, who's a big Speedway fan, John McGuinness, world darts champion Scott Mitchell, and various footballers saying, "I go to Speedway. See you there." That's a great idea. I really, it's simple.
Yeah. I think one thing the BSBA could do is have its own YouTube channel and maybe show the best bits of action.
Yeah, good idea.
Good show. Yeah. YouTube's the way to go.
I've said this before a few times, but I think one of the issues for me is instead of having a live meeting every week, Sky would probably be better off showing a highlights package, and then they can.
Yeah.
That's all.
You've just turned into Norman Collier again.
Or maybe even a radio station.
Oh, he's gone. Hello, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
I mean, say for example, if I wasn't a Speedway fan and I was at home one night flicking through the channels and I happened to turn on to a Speedway meeting and I saw a half-empty stadium and no atmosphere, then it's not going to entice me to go. But if you see a big crowd and you can tell there's a really good atmosphere, you'll look at it and think, oh, I might try that. I might go and have a look at it, see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of the things that people are suggesting, they're not things that would take a great deal of cost either.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I think in some ways it's probably just laziness, really.
Okay, so I'm obviously prescient now because I'm going to read you number 5. There's no excuse for not getting your message across these days with social media, as well as with the more conventional printed titles. Yet astonishingly, there are still some tracks that don't seem to employ a competent press officer, and in some cases they aren't the tracks you would expect. It needn't cost a club anything to bring in someone who can do a decent job for them. These days there are lots of young lads studying a media course at university who are anxious to break into journalism, who would be willing to help out for the work experience as long as they believe it can be a route into getting an eventual full-time job. Bring them in, offer them that chance and get your name out there where it matters. So it's echoing what we said earlier. On the topic of sort of technology, and this is an idea that I've had and I'm hoping to implement it, although the club don't know anything about it yet.
That's okay.
Why are we still... We could actually be taking a march on a lot of other sports, including football.
Yeah.
Why are we still relying so much on printed programs? I was speaking to a Superbike fan about 6 months ago, and he gone and seen his first meeting, and he said the thing that struck him the most was how at the end of every race everybody stops talking, looks down at the problem and scribbles away.
That's right, yeah.
and he thought it was bizarre. I mean, as Speedway fans, it's the normal thing to do.
Yeah, I know,
but he
yeah.
thought that he was like, why are you doing that? I said, well, to keep the score. He says, well, the guy on the PA gives you the score,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
it's up there,
But it's
on
all
that
to do with
board.
tactics and stuff, but which there isn't any anymore, of course.
No.
But why are we not producing apps with the programs on?
Yeah.
So instead of somebody buying a program, they download the app for the program on their app for that week. It means you're going to sell programs to people that aren't even at the match.
And Andy says, I have an app.
Yeah,
I have an app on my Android.
yeah. But I've got an app as well. But that's nothing to do with the club. But what about an app that you download and it's an app, but the program you download the program for that week already.
Pretty simple.
As I say, my son's working on one as we speak, so watch this space.
There we go. You can get programs autographed, says Stan.
Well, you can get anything autographed. Yeah. And I'm not saying don't have printed programs, but have both. And then you don't have to, people can choose to download the program on their app and it'll be cheaper because there's no printing costs involved in it. Or they can, be more traditional. But younger kids, you give them an app and they're into it. They're not into filling out programs.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
Yeah. Well, especially in March and April when it's freezing cold, and you don't want to spend things not rising things down, especially if there's a lot of changes in the meeting and you've got to keep changing the program.
And your program's got wet and soggy and you can't fill it in anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, point number 6. Ice hockey is a sport that has long been complementary to Speedway, and even today there's a decently high percentage of sporters who follow both sports, as the seasons only seriously overlap in September and again in April. Yet the biggest ice hockey clubs are attracting twice or even 3 times the average Speedway crowd. Every promoter in the country should visit Nottingham, Sheffield or Briarhead to see how they package their product and learn from it. While it might be easier to provide entertainment in an indoor venue than out of doors, the ice hockey clubs invariably have announcers who can get the fans going, and a light and sound show both during the player introductions and the interval breaks. Even their Twitter followings are much bigger than for most Speedway clubs. Belfast Giants 24.6k, Cardiff Devils 22.4, Sheffield Steelers 21.4, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And they all have a bigger reach than Speedway's top club, pool, which is 13.1k. Only two of ice hockey's elite league clubs, Edinburgh Capitals and Manchester Storm, have fewer followers than the Pirates, but the Storm, who have yet to play a game and were only revived a couple of months ago, have attracted a bigger following already than all but 6 Speedway clubs: Poole, Wolverhampton, Bellevue, Swindon, Lakeside and Coventry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but basically, I guess what they're saying is, see what other people are doing and learn from it.
Yeah. I think
Ice hockey's really invented itself, hasn't it, in recent years.
Same could be
people
said for
who've gone to
darts.
I know people who've gone to watch ice hockey and they say it's a fantastic night out because there's always something going on. They really try and get people involved, and that's sort of problem for Speedo. They don't do enough to get the crowd involved.
Yeah, and also sorry, go on.
Yeah, I've said in the past that if it's a Sky meeting and you go, you're effectively a TV extra.
Yeah,
Except that you pay for the privilege. So
yeah.
I think even little Solihull Barons down the road, they've got over 3,000 followers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been and watched them a couple of times.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's this thing, this whole thing about the meetings take too long. Now, I know there are certain things that happen. If somebody crashes or there's an injury or whatever, you can't do a lot about that. But I still don't think there's a big enough effort to say, right, that heat's finished, get the next one on. Come on, move. I just don't. I think it needs that. You almost need a sergeant major at the gate saying, right, get your backsides out on the track now. And it's been noticeable how much quicker that is in the National League by and large. So it's possible. If these lads learning their trade can do it, I'm sure the prima donnas in the top echelons they should be able to do it, shouldn't they? So those, and why is it a 2-minute time allowance? Why is it that is bizarre to me.
Yeah.
A race lasts 60 seconds, give or take.
Yeah.
Why is the time allowance to get to the longer than the race takes?
I think some of them got to get the hair right.
Am I the only one who thinks that's bizarre? It should be a minute, shouldn't it? That's long enough.
It should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a minute. And how often is the 2-minute time allowance? Does it end and then the race starts? There's usually a delay anyway. What I can't understand is when they have a 2-minute time allowance and a rider gets excluded for not beating it, and then they have another 2 minutes time allowance. Well, for the rest of the rides.
Yes,
what's the sense in that?
No, well, there isn't any.
Crazy.
Okay, I've got Gabby coming on with. I'm being wound up here.
I know, yeah.
Well, we've got about halfway through though, so perhaps we'll come back to them next week. Some interesting ideas.
It's strange. Every week we come in thinking how we haven't got anything planned. How are we going to fill that? And then by the end of the hour, we're thinking, actually, we could probably do another hour.
So anyway, this time next week we'll have a better idea of how much our bums need to be squeaking. Keep the faith, guys. Keep the faith. We ain't lost anything yet. I mean, a couple of months ago, everybody's saying we ain't won anything yet. Well, that's true, but we ain't lost anything yet either. So,
yeah, that's right.
Let's just keep going, keep going, keep going.
It ain't over till it's done.
Exactly. Take care, everyone. See you next week.
Good night.
See you next week. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What you need to know. Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway